Welcome to the Great Basin Fire Potential Briefing for Friday, June 29th. This is Gina McGuire. Looking at our fire potential impacts for the next few days, we still have gusty winds and very dry conditions to deal with out ahead of a cold front over southern and eastern Utah and also the Arizona Strip. These wind gusts will be in excess of 30 miles per hour with single-digit relative humidity in many areas. We will have much cooler air up across the northern areas, along with still showers and thunderstorms over central and eastern Idaho and Wyoming today. Temperatures will drop to about 5 to 10 degrees below normal behind that cold front. On Saturday, the front continues to push further south and east, and winds will shift to the north over parts of southern, central, and eastern Utah. Therefore, there will be a significant shift in direction of the wind, and they will also remain breezy, with gusts again just above 30 miles per hour and still dry relative humidity below 15%. Therefore, we'll continue to see high fire potential in these areas over the southern half of Utah into the Arizona Strip on Saturday. On Sunday, there's no significant impacts expected across the Great Basin, as we will see warm and dry conditions still prevail. Therefore, in some areas, we'll see poor overnight humidity recovery and very low humidity during the day as temperatures increase through early next week. Over the last 24 hours, we saw scattered showers up across Idaho and some thunderstorms in the central mountains, along with a few thunderstorms near the Nevada-Idaho border. These thunderstorms produced some rainfall. Most of the rainfall was up over central and eastern Idaho and generally from a few hundredths of an inch up towards a quarter of an inch of precipitation. We did have light initial attack yesterday across the Great Basin, but still a new large fire over southwest Utah and over southwest Idaho. Over the last 2 to 4 weeks, we've seen very dry conditions over the southern half to two-thirds of the Great Basin, with most areas not seeing any measurable rainfall. We have continued to see storms move by to the north. Therefore, across Idaho and Wyoming, we still see some precipitation over the last 2 to 4 weeks and even into far northwest Nevada. How this has affected our fuels conditions: fuels have continued to dry out, especially across the southern half of the Great Basin. We're seeing ERCs above the 97th percentile for much of southern and the eastern half of Utah. And if you look at the map on the right, these ERCs have now climbed above record levels for the time of year. Further west into eastern and southern Nevada, ERCs have been on the rise and are just about to exceed the 97th percentile in some areas, and will likely keep going up to near records as we go towards early next week. Elsewhere across the basin, ERCs continue to rise and will likely be increasing to above the 70th percentile as we go into early next week in some areas. However, again, we still do have a significant grass crop across western and northern Nevada into southern Idaho and northwest Utah, which will continue to drive fire behavior over the coming weeks. Looking at the satellite loop from this morning, you can see the trough of low pressure and cold front pushing through eastern Idaho today. This will continue to slide further south and east, again keeping those gusty winds and warm conditions, along with low relative humidity to the south and cooler and wet weather across northern areas. Otherwise, sunny skies across much of Nevada with low relative humidity and low to moderate winds. Looking at the weather pattern for later today, again, those cool and wet conditions continue in the north with dry and breezy conditions down south. We do have a little bit of moisture that may move through with the front over parts of northeast Utah today, so certainly can't rule out some buildups or even some isolated thunderstorms over northeast Utah this afternoon. Still, the main concern is windy and dry conditions over the southern eastern half of Utah today, again with those very low relative humidities that have been in place for the last several days. Looking at the conditions today, you can see those single-digit RHs over eastern and southern Utah back into southern Nevada, with higher relative humidity across Idaho and Wyoming. And again, the winds today will not be as strong as what we saw yesterday, but still breezy, with general west to northwest winds over northeast and eastern Utah, and still southwest winds over the southern portion of the state. Otherwise, light to moderate winds elsewhere across the basin. On Saturday, that front swings further south and east, with the return of warm and dry conditions to many areas of the basin. We still might have some scattered showers or thunderstorms in the central Idaho mountains on Saturday, but otherwise dry. As that front pushes through, we will continue to see those windy and dry conditions over southern areas of Utah into the Arizona Strip. On Saturday, you can see we are getting a little bit of relief in far northern Utah and northeast Nevada from that front with relative humidity near 20%. However, further south, those single-digit relative humidities continue, and again, those winds will still remain gusty on Saturday, and wind shifts will actually occur as the front moves through. Winds will shift more to the northwest or north affecting our ongoing fires over southern portions of Utah. So therefore, the winds will still be breezy and it will be dry. However, the more significant change to Saturday will be the wind direction. On Sunday, that trough is well to the east. We return to generally warm and dry conditions with light to moderate winds with no high risk across the Great Basin. But you will continue to see areas further north and west dry out over the next several days. On Sunday, single-digit relative humidity will start extending further north again into Nevada and Utah with generally light winds. We will see some breezy west to northwest winds up across Idaho and Wyoming, but humidity will be on the higher side. 3-day forecast amount of precipitation. Obviously, where the showers and thunderstorms will be located across Idaho and Wyoming, we'll see some measurable precip. And then even over parts of northeast Utah, thunderstorms we do see there would likely produce very little precip, but there certainly could be some, just not very widespread. As we go into early next week, we do have a trough moving into the northwest. It may pull in a little bit of mid-level moisture, and we'll continue to watch this for possible thunderstorms over parts of central and northeast Nevada into northern Utah and Idaho. Again, we'll continue to monitor this because these thunderstorms would likely not produce a whole lot of precipitation and will be followed by drier conditions. However, right now, this portion of the forecast confidence is still very low. You can see fire potential. We are not high-risking anything quite yet, but continue to dry out some of our northern areas of Nevada and Utah. As we move into Tuesday, that trough in the northwest drops further south, so we'll see more wet weather move across Idaho and Wyoming and dry and breezy conditions further south over Nevada and Utah. Therefore, we do have some high risks across much of Utah into southern and eastern Nevada, and we'll continue to watch areas further west because these gusty winds may extend further west into Nevada on Tuesday as well. On Wednesday, we see general southwest wind flow, still dry conditions and somewhat breezy, but winds will be decreasing. Therefore, no high risk on Wednesday, on July 4th. However, still very dry conditions across Nevada and Utah. You can see a lot more areas in the yellow and brown. And on Thursday, general southwest winds, we may see them increase a little bit as that trough lingers off the coast, and we'll continue to watch that. Otherwise, just continued warm and dry conditions with fuel moistures continuing to drop as we go through the middle of next week. No real additional precipitation except for up across Idaho and Wyoming over the next 7 days. The 8 to 14-day outlook, which takes us from July 6th through the 12th, shows very warm temperatures for the Great Basin and very dry conditions returning to parts of northern areas as the monsoon starts to develop over the southwest and pushes into southern Nevada and southern Utah. We'll continue to watch the moisture return as it's been really hard to pinpoint how much moisture will actually make it up into the Great Basin, but we'll likely see an increase in fire potential with those initial thunderstorms. That concludes our webcast for today. Check back tomorrow for the latest updates.